Welcome to the Infinite Waves podcast. And today we are joined by the Director of Customer Care at NMAX, Dwayne Calder. He plays a key role in supporting over 500,000 homes and nearly 50,000 businesses. Every time a customer reaches out for help, his team is behind the experience and resolutions.
This is the Infinite Waves podcast, where innovation meets imagination. From trailblazing technologies to inspiring stories of leadership, we're charting a course towards the future filled with limitless possibilities. Together with Creative Innovations Lab, let's explore AI and future technology. Welcome to Infinite Waves podcast. I'm your host, Russell Motha. I'm excited to welcome the Director of Customer Care at NMAX, Dwayne Calder. Dwayne, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Russell. Glad to be here.
All right. So, Dwayne, let's start by getting to know you a little better. If you explain to our audience, who is Dwayne Calder?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I've been in Alberta now for almost 20 years, 18 years or so. I grew up in Atlantic Canada, and when I graduated high school, I had kind of a vision of never wanting to work in an office. I didn't want to have a Monday to Friday office job. I kind of grew up in a kind of a semi-agricultural setting, and so I took landscape horticulture. I enjoyed working outside. I enjoyed working with my hands. I had a vision of kind of owning my own business, and that's what I did after university. I never really had any kind of future plans of working in an office. Went to university for that, and then shortly after, not maybe, when you're 17, 18 years old, you don't always have everything planned out as a trajectory of what the future is and what your career aspirations are actually going to unfold like. And didn't really plan with the fact of how seasonal that work is unless you own your own business. So in the winter months, I had ended up working in a contact center just to pay the bills, pay off that student loan that I had racked up prior to going to university. And I really liked it. It wasn't, I saw the opportunity of how immersed you get when you're working in a customer experience organization, especially in a contact center, the level of business, the thought and the decisioning you have to make. And I really started to find my home in something that I didn't even really anticipate my career going. And I had the opportunity to travel very young in my career, get exposed to a lot of different business scenarios internationally, and really kind of almost had an epiphany of what I wanted to do with my career. And I quickly moved away from, other than my home and how I keep my lawn and my yard, I really got into the adrenaline of what a customer experience career could be.
Yeah. I also noticed in your profile that you, till recently, you were part of financial services customer experience, or well known as FinServe these days. What was that change from financial services or FinServe to utility sector feel like for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I spent 13 years here in Alberta working for a leading financial institution, a great organization. And it just kind of, as COVID started, I think 2021, I had the opportunity to switch roles and move out of financial services into the utility sector. And a lot of the reason for that was just transformation and disruption. I think if you look back over financial services or telecommunications or other industries that have been disrupted over the last decade or so, utilities is starting to come into that fold. And I really wanted to be a part of that transformation, that revolution, that evolution of what customer experience is going to be in a different vertical. And I think I really was attracted to the fact that I can continue to learn and to grow and to apply what I have done, mistakes and things that I've done well in a new way, but also be able to expose myself to situations and to learnings and to an industry that I wasn't a part of for the first part of my career. And that really attracted me to the fact of how I could kind of put my mark and my stamp on what customer experience would be in a totally different way.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So customer experience and technology these days is almost intertwined. Like you cannot tell one word without the other, especially with AI and automation coming into place. How do you see technology shaping the customer experience space in the utility sector?
Yeah, I mean, I think, utilities, even just any vertical, any industry, where technology and experience overlap in a positive way is where you add value. Because I think you can have technology in any way. Like there's technology that's all around us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it aids in that experience. So for me, and how I see that intersection is where you take, either low value added work or things that are just get in the way of customers being able to have a seamless experience, or that's where we have technology. Technology doesn't carry emotion. Technology doesn't have a tone. Technology doesn't necessarily allow ourselves to connect and collaborate and have personality with customers. But what it does do is free up capacity for us to do that more. There's technology that, no different than how technology is around us and how we use Apple CarPlay or how I use Amazon or how I use those things add value to me so that I can then spend my time that's more valuable to myself in other ways. And that's how technology and customer experience is going to be helped. It helps us unlock time to do the things that matter the most, because technology is helping us do the things that don't add value to us as team members, but also to the customers as well.
Yeah, I see that, because right now we have become so comfortable with the new technologies and new adoptions that we have already, like you mentioned, Apple CarPlay. Like, I don't think I can travel even to the grocery store without CarPlay in my car. So yeah, I understand how people will be open to that adoption and expecting and accepting more to come as well. I know you mentioned that you have a strong passion for farming. I'm just curious to know, is there any similarities with nurturing a farm and nurturing customer experience? Like, do you share any common similarities with those two?
Yeah, and I have a passion for my in-laws are farmers, and I have great respect for the work that they do, and it's very interesting. My wife's grandfather, would have seen from land that was managed of a just quarter section with horse and plow to now that are being driven by satellites and iPads, and that's in his lifetime. So my passion for that is really being able to see different sides of life. I mean, I live in the city. My kids go to school here in the city. We live just outside of the town, but they also get the other side of being able to see what it's like to be on a farm. But it's not the same as what it was before. Like the technology that farmers use and agriculturists use is completely different. Like they may use more technology than many other industries, and I think when you put that into context, there's no industry, there's no job, there's no role out there that isn't being disrupted by technology and using technology to make lives easier, and how reliant we become on using something as simple as technology to make things more economical, more profitable, more productive. And that's really what's so important. So, farming we're talking, large jobs here, big scale. I mean, the more everything's measured in miles and meters, and the more that you can have the ability for technology to aid in your ability to do that, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I see that. Like, just before the podcast, we were having a conversation, and you mentioned that, like, back in the day that people used to ride horses to find, check everything around the farm. But right now you could be like relaxing, watching Netflix, and then controlling a drone just to do the same thing. So, and this happened during a lifetime of our parents, or in your case, relatives, right? So I can only imagine what with the evolution of AI coming into play, like farming or customer experience or anything that we do might change completely. We know that there's autonomous cars that's going to drive people around. It's already there in various parts of the world. And I don't know, everything's going to change drastically.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem. It's how it all integrates to your life. And I bought a used Jeep 2 weeks ago. And the first thing I did out of everything that I did is I changed out the stereo. Not because I wanted louder music, not because I didn't like not even because it didn't work. It worked beautifully, but it didn't have Apple CarPlay. And I know how to drive back and forth to the office. I know the route, but I'm so reliant on what that technology does for me. It allows me to, if there's an accident or if there is a delay, it'll reroute me in different ways. And I don't have to think about how to get to work. It does that for me. It shows me the quickest, most effective way to do so. So that's why I've changed that technology. And when you look at AI and you look at some of these other technology of the future, it becomes so ingrained in your life that you even forget the value that it's bringing. But you're reliant on it. And the example of Steve Jobs, very much a visionary in terms of early technology of taking an iPod and a phone and putting them together and giving technology that people didn't realize they needed to have, but now can't live without. And I couldn't live without my Apple CarPlay for the simple fact that I'm just so ingrained in using that every single day that I didn't realize how much that made a difference in my community.
Yeah, so from what you're saying, what I'm understanding is that once you reach a certain level of experience, that becomes the benchmark, the standard. Like everything, it's expected, and that's gonna create, for example, you may have driven a different car before, and you happened to experience Apple CarPlay, and now every vehicle, that's the minimum standard that you expect. And I think with customer experience right now in today's context, that's what's happening to industries. Whoever the company or whatever the industry or whoever is providing the best experience, that's the only differentiator. Especially in sectors like utility, banking, or insurance, where everybody's providing pretty much homogeneous or generic solutions. Only differentiator is the experience. That's the only thing. You might call a different name, have a different brand, but the factor that's gonna stick people or get your customers to glue to that brand is the experience.
Totally. And that has changed over many, many decades. I mean, if I think back to, and this is, industry agnostic, but 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, primarily majority of the interactions from a customer experience was face-to-face. If you had a question at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, you had to save it till Monday morning at 10 o'clock when it was open and you could have that face-to-face interaction. And you were reliant on that, and then, introduced the phone. And it took a while to get customers there. They were, they wanted that face-to-face interaction, and then they went to phone. And then, from phone, it went to email or chat. And the next iteration of that is going to be AI. It's going to be chatbot. It's going to be, being able to get access to that information experientially whenever you want, how you want it. So it's just a migration of channels. And we've seen this happen before. We've seen this generationally happen before. And it's just, how do we continue to drive value and have customers be able to get what they need, how they want it?
Absolutely. I have a question for you. With your experience, I know you and your team are serving almost 500,000 homes. It's not an easy task or not a small amount of people. In your experience, what do you think are the key qualities that a high-performing customer experience team need to have to deliver exceptional quality service?
Yeah, I think there's two aspects of that. Number one, we need to be accurate, efficient. Any time that a customer is interacting with us, that's their time. So we need to be able to respect their time and give them what they need, how they need it, when they need it, in a very quick, effective, accurate manner. I mean, that's just table stakes. And there's also a personal side to it. I mean, I think as any brand, customers want to relate to that brand. It's not just a transaction, it's an interaction. And how do we continue to have empathy? And how do we continue to drive loyalty? And how do we understand and anticipate future needs for that customer? And I think that's where that paradox of driving a great experience is giving them what they need, how they want it in an accurate way, but also making a connection. Because when you make Maya Angelou, it's not what people do for you, it's how you make them feel. And I think that even with technology, there's still a way to have customers feel your brand, have them feel, an interaction very similar to the way they would have done it over the phone or the way they've done it in person. And it's how do you drive value back to them on what they find valuable.
I see, coming back to one of the points that you explained before, like right now, the customer needs and expectations are evolving at a very fast pace. And with AI coming into place, like people are demanding, like people already have a lot of information. the knowledge of the customer has increased, and the expectation from customer service teams have significantly changed. How do you manage your team or prepare your team to those adoptions, those changes, so that they keep on improving that customer standard while meeting these new demands from customers?
Great question. I think for us, it's really about being curious. It's being lifelong learners. Customer experience isn't a set it and forget it. Like what we did even 5 years ago isn't necessarily going to win the game in the future. It's what got us here won't keep us here. And we need to continue to evolve our teams in terms of, even the world around us has changed. If you think of pre-COVID compared to post-COVID, expectations of customers have changed. So we as customer experience professionals need to make sure that we are, keeping abreast of technology, what's happening in the market. We need to be educated because customers are relying on us to be experts in what they need. And that's changing. We need to be highly educated. We need to understand our markets. We need to understand influences in our market. I think the world right now is in a bit of a volatile spot. There's a lot happening and customers have a lot of questions and they're going to turn to us for answers, and we need to be able to guide them in the decisions that they need and add value to them, because I think that in the future, when you look at things that customers can do, they're going to rely on us for more complexity, because the easy things are going to be gone. And you think about even financial institutions from the past. You'd go to the teller to get your balance. Well, nobody goes to the teller anymore to get their balance. But if you don't, from a utility standpoint, if you don't need to call us for simple things, you're going to call us for complex things. And we need to be able to be prepared to answer those and be able to give them the advice that they need. And how do we help them and make their life more meaningful through the lens of utility?
Absolutely. Like when you mentioned about that teller example, like I remembered my niece recently saw one of these, I don't know if you recall, there were bank books where we need to physically go and give it to a teller and update it physically. And you can only do it from a bank. Like you'll not know your balance if it wasn't for that book and if it's not updated. And I recently showed this to my niece, and we have a very small gap, like, the age gap is very small, but she couldn't fathom that there was something like this exist in the world for this service. So I'm just thinking, like, how fast things are evolving and how far the expectation of the customer is changing. And if I ask you something like, if Dwayne gets a magic wand and you can decide and solve any challenge with AI or any future technology that you would want, what would be the challenge that you wanted solved right away in your role, and why?
Oh, good question. I'm going to answer that probably like a 10,000 foot level, but I think where technology, in particular AI, if I had that magic wand, it would be, how do we use that to make lives richer? How do we use that to improve quality of life, both from our customer standpoint and for those that are serving our customers? How do we keep wellness and mental wellness and the ability for customers to be, from an affordability lens, or to have an understanding of how they can control their energy usage? So for me, that's that magic wand of AI for me is, how does it add value to you and so you can live a better life?
Wow, I really like that answer, because you're not only thinking about resolving the customer issue, but you're actually thinking about the customer wellness, like what really matters to them, solving their real need, not the issue at hand, but the real objective.
Yeah, and that goes for the team members that support those customers. There's nothing better than at the end of the day knowing that you made a difference. And AI can play a part in that. Technology plays a part in that. And that is an enabler for us to come to work every day, to be able to do what we need to do. So at the end of the day, we hold ourselves high until we made a difference with customers. And I think that's, the more that we can do that, the better we are, and the better our customers are going to feel with the interactions they have with us, whether that's in person, whether that's over the phone, or whether that's in a world where it's virtual and technology driven.
Wonderful. And my final question to you is, for a aspiring leader in the customer experience space, what advice would you give them that you wish that you would have gotten it when you were younger?
Oh, great question. Be curious, push boundaries, collaborate. I mean, I think one of those things too, when you look at technology is anybody can find technology to do whatever they want. It's not a check the box exercise. It really is about an integration between technology and your vision and your strategy. So for me, and advice I would give is just continue to be curious. Stay abreast of what's happening in the marketplace. Learn, be an advocate, try things out. Push yourself out of your own comfort zone. Buy the Apple CarPlay or buy the new device or try different technologies. Put yourself into different learning circles or conferences and just really step out sometimes of your comfort zone. And I had a leader tell me this a long time ago, and it's really stuck with me of anytime you make a decision, get up from your desk and turn around and walk to the other side and sit as a customer and then make that same decision again. And does it still make sense? And I think anytime that we look at technology, especially for those that are in customer experience or those that are in verticals or industries, it's very easy for us to see because we see it every day. But look at the lens from the customer standpoint, and that may actually help us shape a different direction.
Wow, I really like that. Every time you make a decision, look at it from the customer's point of view, and that way you understand both sides and you can be a great leader. Absolutely. And with that, we come to the conclusion of this episode. And how can our audience connect with you, Dwayne?
Yeah, thank you very much, Russell. I've really appreciated the time here today. It's gone super fast. I love speaking about this stuff, but I'm on LinkedIn, Dwayne Calder. If anybody wants to reach out, feel free. I'd love to connect and continue to build my network. So really appreciate the time today.
Yeah, and thank you very much, Dwayne, being on this episode. I really like your insights and vision towards experience in the utility sector, and I'm pretty sure I'll definitely have you once again in this show, probably after about 1 year or so, to see what we discussed, how it has changed your industry, how it has been changing the lives of customers.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dwayne.
Look forward
nice
to
have you.
Thank you.
Take care. Up next, we have Matthew Hall from SAIT talking about future of work. We'll see you on the next wave. Thank you for joining us on the Infinite Waves podcast, where innovation never stops. Stay tuned for more insights and stories from visionary leaders, powered by Creative Innovations Lab. Until next time, let's keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.